Welcome to the January meeting of the Commission on Aging. Thanks to everybody for being here. We do have a quorum, so we'll move right to our first order of business, which is the discussion of the December minutes. Anybody have any suggested modifications? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve them? Thank you. A second? Thank you. All in favor? Awesome. Thanks very much. Now, our friend from At Home in Darien, Chris, is here. He's got to leave a little early, so we're going to move him up to the top of our agenda. So tell us what's going on, Chris.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you for changing the agenda a little bit. I appreciate that. A lot of things happening, a lot of good things. Finished up the year. I think most noteworthy from a structural and organizational standpoint, we have two new presidents, co-presidents, William Carney and Peter Sosnow, which is notable because it's taking two people maybe to fill the role that Susan had filled so amazingly, Susan Birud, over the past 3 or 4 years. Obviously, as other organizations have experienced, COVID was not easy, particularly for an organization that works with seniors and picks them up and drives them every day. So we thank Susan and then welcome William and Peter on board, and they've got some great ideas, and we're very excited. And new board member, which I may have mentioned last meeting, Marcia Cleary, who joins Sue Oki, another board member on this board, or this commission. We finished up the year 30% year over year in ridership, which I've been giving updates, and it's pretty much continued that trend. Of note, the past 6 months we're up over 40% in ridership. We continue to have the two drivers. But we're reaching out and we're trying to get additional volunteer drivers to help that can complement our paid drivers. But we also have kind of a paid potential driver on deck, getting loose in the on deck circle. So we're very excited about that. We're just kind of working through the logistics to potentially bring that person on board. We completed our fall volunteer leaf raking initiative, and we raked leaves for 19 different seniors in their homes, their full yard, which is admirable. We had 496 volunteer leaf raking hours, and I'll read the volunteers who helped us, because I wouldn't want to miss anybody. The St. Thomas More Youth Group of Darien, the Church of the Latter-day Saints Youth Darien Ward, the Community Fund of Darien's Thriving Youth Task Force, MMS Gives Back, Troop 19, Girls Troop in the Scouts, BSA, students from the Harvey School. Then we had a couple of families, the Wheeler, Vengers, and Vicente families. And then Grace Lou and her friends helped out. And it was great. We've got pictures of the volunteers with the seniors, our winter out and about, which is the only way we touch everybody in town. We're working on that now, and we're going to be sending that out in the next couple of weeks. So we will include pictures of all those events, and that's on the heels of the wreath that we had delivered, which I may have mentioned last, which was very similar. So thank you, Joe. That's what I have today.
Awesome. Any questions for Chris? Hearing none, thank you so much for coming in your busy schedule. We're going to walk you through.
Yeah.
Do you want to go now, or do you want to stick for a bit? How long you got?
I'll stick for just a couple minutes.
You got it.
Thank you, Joe.
Perfect. Thanks so much for coming. Next on our order of business is Mather Center report. Beth.
I do have the copy, if anyone would like it, of February highlights and happenings. Just to let you know, the Matter of Balance class, which begins January 31st, is filled. Fairfield University coordinator nursing supervisor came yesterday and actually requested that I do 2 at the same time. She's looking for 2 more nurses because I have 9 on our waiting list. The entire first class, which is 20 people, is all Darien residents, which is really good. That's what we've been trying to do. So we're getting a lot more interest that way. The class is incredible. It's going to be a little bit of a feat to do the 2 at one time, but we'll see how I can manage that.
You'll balance it out.
I'm going to have to balance it. Yeah, I'm going to have to balance in the building. And the ARP driving course is back again on March 29th. We're message out to people, please call in by February 6th. We're not opening it up to non-Darien residents till then because we had a big response for that last time. 22 is the limit that they'll take. That's not ours limit, that's their limit. And the program, people like the in-house program better than online. And we are really lucky to have Rob Marcantonio back, so that's awesome, because they all love him. It's going to be a balancing act. Our program specialist gave her notice on Thursday, the 12th, and she's leaving on the 27th. So I will be alone probably for months, because it does take a while in our procedure, all municipalities, not just ours. But I'm trying to gird my loins for that. We have, I wrote it in the minutes for here, just so that you know, there's only 2 full-time professional positions. Every other position, which is 3, are part-time. So I am not a director, as Peter's been on the statewide program, and we can see all the directors have different jobs. I actually work too. I'm not a finger pointer. I run activities. I supervise a kitchen. I have to make sure it's licensed, grease traps, all of that. I run a wood shop. I have to make sure it's OSHA qualified. And I have to understand the building too. And our public works department is wonderful, but I know the mechanicals and the electrical of our building. That's why our building still looks so good. And volunteers, and on top of it. So it's not like, it's not so off-putting to me that I'm gonna have to do more. But now I have to do everything. And I'm case in point, I'm getting older too. So it's a little daunting. Stacy's done a wonderful job. She's moved. It's the commute that really is getting her. She's going to take a town job in Orange. Actually, where a senior center coordinator is going to be under her. She had no senior center experience before. She had a community programming experience, but not senior center. So she's left us with valuable information too, and it's a bittersweet parting, just based on the fact that it takes a while to train people as well. The other thing is that several other municipalities are looking for this exact position right now. And so the competition's going to be fierce as well. So if something happens that you don't see me at the March meeting, send out the cardiac paddle sometime. It's a tremendous amount, and we're in budget time too. So that's what I spent the morning from 6:30 to about 7:30, just going back and forth with budget questions from our town administrator, who's absolutely wonderful, but conscientious, and I have to do that part of it too. So I'm just letting you all know, just in case. And if there is anybody out there that's looking for a wonderful position, it's an amazing, amazing opportunity. Again, all of our program specialists or coordinators, as other municipalities call them, it's a wonderful position for somebody who likes to be busy with diverse roles. And I can't say enough about it. So just to put you on notice for that. I'm canceling nothing, which is very brave on my part, but I'm canceling nothing. And we are booked out to June with major entertainments, classes, scheduled stuff. So that's really good. We're actually working even right now on the March newsletter, so that's done, to get ready for being without somebody for a month.
Is there a job posting site anywhere?
Well, here's the fun thing. It's Stacy resigned on Thursday, and I notified HR as soon as I knew, which was late at 8 o'clock in the morning. They don't work on Friday, and the HR director's off this week. So I was supposed to get a program, the job description to approve, to see what I wanted to do to upgrade, because I would upgrade the computer skills. We really need somebody who has, that's one of the things that Stacy really did for us. She had such really good computer skills, virtual, it's like second nature to her, She's one of those that goes like this, oh, Beth, that's not right, and I don't know what you just did. So we need somebody that has that, again, because we know we want to still be, equipped with being prepared for any kind of a happenstance that we need to do more virtual. And also, one of the things, just to throw this in on the task force, they are looking at the Department on Aging on having a virtual senior center that every senior center can access, so that we could offer links to programs that we're doing, Stanford could offer, Trumbull, and everybody all over, so that, if anybody really loves a computer, because we do know folks really love to go on the computer, they could look at the state virtual senior center. So that's one of the things the senior center, the the field rep's gonna be doing, so.
One idea from our search for Chris at Home in Darien, you want to expand your definition of computer skills. You don't just say, because what you just described, and we figured this out very early on, there's a total difference between being able to operate and manage a Zoom meeting versus being able to deal with a spreadsheet or whatever. And a lot of times you end up getting what you ask for and it's not what you want.
Right.
So if you're going to expand it, I think now is the time because of just all the things you mentioned. There's such a diversity involved in computer utilization. And you mentioned all those programs. In addition to just being able to manage this, the background apps and everything that support them, if you have people that really understand that, they can direct people immediately to different websites, different whatever. But they also need the other basic skills, and a lot of times that doesn't come through. You get people either overqualified in one area and underqualified. So I would really be very expansive on what you mean by that.
To your point, Jim, and you are 1,000% right, and that's one of the things that I'm having Stacy write a full list of all of those things.
Exactly.
And to add them, verbatim, what they are.
Yeah.
Because you're absolutely right, and we need, as much as I've learned a lot, it's not second nature, it'll never, I don't believe it will ever be, but you need somebody who's that astute at it.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
we want to move forward, this is wonderful, this is going to be, one of the things also the task force is looking about is the modernization of senior centers. So this is part of the modernization aspect. We have to have folks on board. There's a part-time activity assistant position that we haven't been able to fill as of yet either, because part-time positions are even harder to fill. And that one, we also are, to your point, are gonna start putting specifics in. So there's a backup with that computer knowledge. So yeah, absolutely, for sure. It's a must at this point.
And it's also like Wi-Fi knowledge, connectivity knowledge. If you look up there, look in the right-hand corner of that screen. Somewhere or another you can connect with that
Absolutely.
via Wi-Fi.
Right.
What in the heck would you do with it? I have some ideas, but I don't know. But that's the world that we're moving into, and all the things you described, it's a much broader support capacity is now required if you want to offer those services.
Absolutely, for sure. The Beyonder program that we connected with, that I told you about, that we go to,
Yeah.
we're going to Galloway, I think it's next week. That's an example of that. It's perfectly live. They're in Ireland.
Right?
And we're sitting in our chairs, and Stacy is usually there talking to the person, saying, oh no, go back to the left, if somebody wants to see, and you're actually engaging like you're on the walk. So that's one of the things with that connectivity that you can do. So, but thank you. And thank you for your support and sharing that, because it's really
Susan.
important.
I would also suggest when you get your job description, you share it with this group, because, I can put it out on LinkedIn and, just
that
kind
would
of
be great. Yeah, I'll send it to you, Joe, and.
Yeah, or I'll forward it to the rest of the commission if that's okay. Yeah, that's great.
Beth, if you need help over the next couple of months from our department, we're happy to come pinch it, especially with your programs and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I will
Reach
definitely, thank you, Ally, I definitely will. Yeah, so, I pray a lot too.
Yeah.
Most of my blessings come from
Yeah,
there.
you're good.
So, but today I'm a little trepidatious because this is absolutely brand new. And it's just a short, when I left Stratford, I gave 6 weeks notice. It's usually a job of this magnitude, it's at least a month, so
Right.
it's a little, and if we didn't have all that competition out there, but that's also signs of COVID too, because a lot of people retired from positions that maybe would have waited longer. I'm not ready to go, folks.
But one way you're
So-
really blessed, though, right, between yourself, who was amazing, as well as the Mather Center, I don't think the other jobs will come with the perks that the Darien job does. In other words, you have to be near the top of this particular realm of people looking, saying, where would I like to be? As long as they can make the commute
Right.
to Stacy's issue.
It's only, that is really only
That's
the,
the issue.
because our salary is solid, our reputation is solid, you know, people.
Facility is
The
gorgeous.
facility is gorgeous, there's, I think I'm a pretty good boss, I don't know if to work with, you know, so it's like, all of that, but there is this thing about, you know, you're talking about just to say she lived in Trumbull.
Yeah.
The commute is an hour both ways.
Yeah.
And I flexed the schedule so she could start at 7:30.
Yeah.
So we, you know, it's a little, but we go home, I only live 20 minutes. It's 45 minutes to an hour even for me to go home.
Right.
So, you know, it is, you know, it is an issue for folks,
Sure.
so.
Have to buy it. A question would be whether, and we have to talk with Chris and bring him back. Hey, Chris, could we get somebody to pick people up at the train station, right? In other words, to be able to go back and forth, because that would be such a much easier commute to be able to try to get people from town hall to the train station.
There are quite a few people actually who work north and do train, and then they have some town cars that they share.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be something like that, because
Right.
that commute is a bear. I
Yeah.
mean, it's the bottom line.
There's a lot of people who work far away.
Yeah.
And it isn't getting better that
No.
way either, you know, in terms of you know, it's the only, technically speaking, I would say it's the only downside.
Traffic, yeah.
Right.
And the traffic is horrible, you know, so,
Absolutely.
um,
Okay. Well, we will keep you in our prayers, okay, while you
Thank you.
manage this,
I
and hopefully
totally believe
this
it.
goes very quickly so that you can
Yeah.
find somebody who's amazing and gets through all the red tape that's necessary to get that position.
it's a little dance, but.
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
get there.
I was gonna say.
Would you like this, the task force thing now, or do you want to wait?
Why don't we go with your task force thing now, since it's relating to senior centers?
Okay, they of course have not gotten the application out, so the letter hasn't gone to all of the town administrators. Monica hasn't gotten it yet, but it was good because I got to talk to her a little about it. They're calling it a beneficiary application form, but it also won't have to be in or complete till the middle of 2024, and then the money gets done by the end of 2026.
So just for people who are tuning in for the first time,
Yeah.
let's pull back a little bit. What money are we talking about? Who's giving it? How do the application process start, as if nobody knows anything?
It's ARPA funding that's come into each of our states, and $10 million of it was allocated to senior centers. Senior centers were, during COVID, finally noticed for all they've been doing for years and years and years and years. And so this money that's been advocated, and this task force that's been working for a long time, or the working group, but there was a senior center task force that was been working on this for years, finally got an allocation of money and an allocation of a real position that's, even though it's going to be called the field representative in the Department of Aging, the person's going to be assigned to senior centers. So part of their position will be to get the word out, to do some advertising for us as well, and also to look at each of the senior centers, what makes them tick, how they work, where there can be synergies, where there can be collaboration, which is really not anything that we did prior to COVID. We do a lot of collaborating with the 14 of us. I have a meeting actually this afternoon, but that doesn't happen through the whole 169. And then the money is going to be looked at based on each town's population over 60, their poverty level, their disability level, their non-white level. So we have no idea what the dollar amount is going to be yet. We just know that they finally decided on those would be the benchmarks that they're going to be giving the money out
And
for.
the reference to your application then is for those funds that's going to be due sometime in 2024. Is that closing circle?
The actual application, knowing what you're going to do, will be due in 2024, and you have to complete it, all of it, by 2026.
Got it.
So you have a period of time to come up with what you're going to do, and a period of time to actually implement and see if it was successful or not. They are working at this position. I do have actually brought with me, these are drafts of what our recommendations are so far. So if any of you are interested in reading them, we're still working. And then one of the items in the draft is that representation continue and that the working group continue even beyond the resolution of the field rep and what we do with the ARPA funds. Because they're thinking that this working group also has so much other information that's been valuable and shared. And we've learned a lot about the state too. They've had speakers, state reps, senators. It's wonderful to know. I'm pointing at Peter because he's there. He's on the Zoom with us. So that we're learning a lot about what our state is doing, and that there are other folks that are very interested in senior issues throughout the state of Connecticut, and there are other areas that are deficit areas that we're not helping and serving people, especially between being at home in the poverty level, our nursing homes, our ombudsman programs, that kind of thing. So it's looking at more than just the senior center. They also want that position to be a position that sticks. It's funded every single year, so there's going to need to be a lot of support for it to continue to be funded. And there is reason for it to be funded. So I'm dying to see who the dynamo is, who they hire. They are currently, because there's 2 more field representative positions. They have to be called that. But the specific one that's going to be designated to senior center will be specifically designated. But they have 3 openings, so they have to interview, this is the state now, HR, a big lump of people that are going to fill those 3 positions. So they're not done with it yet. The process is happening. The job descriptions have gone out, I've seen them, because they get mailed to us. And so that process is still working. We're hoping to get the letters out by February. Now that they know what the benchmarks of the form are going to be, what the form, and I understand it's not going to be arduous, it's going to be something, because lots of times grants, as you know, can be really, really difficult to fill out and take very, very time consuming. My understanding, this is going to be very, very simple, but it really is something that's going to take discussion. And to Peter's point last month, we may want to include everybody who is interested in senior issues that may come up with, just how Jim came up with all the wonderful suggestions to me. Somebody else might have other suggestions based on at home, the library's participation, what Ally sees as needs, so we'll have time to talk about it. And if the commission has things that it would like to put forth as well. So I will, pass these out so that you can see the work that's been done. I have to say, and Peter, I've never been on a work group before. For the time that we've been together, it's a lot of work. The meetings are intense. They're always on a Friday from 10 to 12, but it's a hard working group. And do you want to add anything to this?
You're right. Michael Werner does a fantastic job at the state level. Just a couple of points. One of the things with disbursements like this is it goes to 169 towns, and oftentimes, depending on who the leadership of that town is, the word doesn't get down and out. There is a commitment made by them that this will go right out and will be immediately copied to managers, directors like Beth, so that we make sure that a municipal leader doesn't essentially put this in his or her pocket. Not that they ever would, or put it aside, right? The second thing is, of the $10 million that were allocated, 6 earmarks were made on that bill. So 6 towns already got the money through earmarks, okay? That's over. What we want to make sure is that the rest of this money is equitably dispersed based on some very sound principles. And I think as you read this and as we go through this, it's going to get done.
Thank you. Beth, are you okay if we put this in the minutes?
Yes.
That would be great.
It's highlighted on, I don't think I did enough. It's highlighted on the top that it's a draft.
Okay, understood, but I just want to make sure you're cool with it as a draft going out as part of our
I
minutes.
asked permission for here, and I asked permission for the senior center working group, our SWAPA group.
Great.
And Michael said fine. And if you, if you have anything that you would like to contribute, please just let me know. We're constantly, right, this is a work in progress. This changed from the last month when we all got it. And I don't know if I'm sure you did. I emailed a lot of things, I'm sure Peter did too, so it got changed up. So we're really working hard to make this a realistic document and that's something that we're all, that we're gonna all make happen.
Right.
So,
And it's just to our secretary, just to clear in Ben's comments that it's a draft, because I even when it says draft on it,
Yes.
it's really critical.
Yes, for sure.
That people don't think, hey, wait a minute, right?
Yeah.
And that's so that big red draft stamped on documents is just like critical, because they do change, and probably by next month, this will look different.
Right, because when you finalize it, you have to make it even more realistic.
Right.
So when you're making a commitment to what you're gonna do, especially when this much is at stake, there may be things that come off of this, or that they saw were redundant or whatever.
Right.
I keep adding, so we'll see. But I have to say, really a hard-working group.
Jill, can I mention to the At-Home and Darien board members, item 9 on this. Today, with our meeting this afternoon, we're starting to really get involved with the strategic plan update and everything. And if you look at 9, this is one of the key areas that we're focused on. So this will really give you an idea of kind of how we're trying to pull all of these things together. That's why this is very important. It's not just a matter of what you get done with it, but I think it is the communication and the effectiveness of the communication to other ancillary organizations that either may or may not apply for the funds, but at the end of the day, understand what the total systemic network is for all of these things, because it's huge. And it's a lot more support out there than most people understand, because they're in silos. So I
Right.
think this is great.
Right, absolutely. I think that if this first go-around ends up being something that's just disseminated through the senior centers,
Yeah.
just for the organization purposes, it should be something that evolves.
Yeah.
And then when the money's out there next time, maybe the reach is gonna be further, for
And
sure.
this is a template for Chris to work with.
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
And just for the benefit of the people on TV 79, 9 is quite lengthy, but I think, and Jim can correct me, 9C, support collaborations and sharing of resources between senior centers, adult day services, entities, aging in place organizations, and others who serve aging and older adults through endeavors including but not limited to the virtual senior center. So just so people on TV 79, what we're talking about in this working group is that collaboration, which we've been so blessed by here in town, but moving it on to the state level.
Yeah, they could have said such as At-Home and Darien.
They sure could, exactly.
It would have been perfect.
Right, precisely.
Well, one of the things that they're going to be expanding, there's a gal who represents the adult daycares in the state. And where I came from, for 25 years, we had a social model adult day program in the senior center. They're bringing that idea back up. Frustrates me a little bit, because when I left, that program got canned. But that is so important to have, it's not funny, in terms of having people that are mild to moderately cognitively impaired have a place within the senior center, not right in the center, but attached to the center, that can participate in some of the senior center activities, and as well as have like a 9 to 3 affordable place to be that stimulates them, gives them a better quality of life, and helps with that cognitive transition for the caregiver, for the person to maybe stay at home for the whole length of their illness, and or to help educate them into adult day health or into long-term care. So that's what I did for 25 years, and that's coming back. So what's
Nice.
old is new again. But I would have loved to have done that here as well, but we need space. But it is good that that's happening too. So we're seeing the importance of understanding too, that because of livable communities that's coming up, and also because of the Connecticut Alzheimer's Association, because we are still seeing, a surge of folks that are being diagnosed with cognitive issues as they get older and more frail. So it's becoming more of a challenge.
And do you think COVID had a role in that as well, where people who were isolated may very well have gone faster down that road?
The adult day health say it for sure, and
Yeah.
and those of us that's my specialty, absolutely for sure.
There's
'Cause
going to be
we've
tons
saw-
of data come out.
Yeah.
They're just now starting to crunch all the data that they've captured. And I think it's going to be overwhelming.
Yeah. Without a quality of life and without a schedule, without a reason for being, right? Without all of that, because memory is not just our thinking memory. Memory is in every cell of our body. So without all of that being stimulated, because somebody can lose their ability to speak and still be completely appropriate and being in an environment that makes them happy and gives them purpose and quality of life. Without that, we go down in the sled, and the depression and the anxiety that are side effects of any cognitive assault get to take over. So we need this. We need this. So.
Thank you, Beth. Any other questions for Beth? Awesome report. Thank you so much. And Human Services, Ally.
Oh, I don't have that much. You had good stuff.
You're not working
I should have gone
hard.
first.
I should have gone first.
Just a reminder of, and I mentioned this last month about Operation Fuel and how it's no longer for just low-income residents, it's really moderate. So for instance, a household with one person in it, they can make up to $66,000 a year. So for a senior, if their income is just Social Security and maybe a pension, I mean, it counts income from investments and all, but that's I think it went up $20,000. So, and also I said for a family of 4, it's $127,000. So there should be a lot more people, and we're going to keep trying to get the word out there about this. And I did ask, because we were allotted $5,000 for this season, and I asked if we run out, if we can get more, and they said yes. Because I'm like, this is going to open the opportunity to so many people, so hopefully people take advantage of it.
How much typically for an individual would that amount be?
So they can get, so it used to be only $500 once every 12 months,
Right.
but now they've upped it to $1,000, and it can be twice. They have 2 programs. They have winter, spring, and then summer, fall. So now they're letting you apply to each program up to $1,000. So some of our clients who are going to run out of their energy assistance, that helps with their oil in particular, we have a strategy here. We're like, okay, as soon as you run out of your energy, which is going faster this year, then we can apply for Op Fuel for another delivery. So it's great. We're excited. And then we have seen an increase in people applying for regular energy assistance. Last year we had 71 households receive grants, and this goes till March for oil and then till May for utilities. We've already had 58 households apply, so that's a big increase. And that's great, and we don't have limited funds on that. It's as many people. So we want to keep getting that word out, because I know I dread getting my oil invoices when they hang them on the door. Anyway. One other thing that I don't think I've mentioned in a while is that we have a medical loan closet. So people can get transport chairs, walkers, knee scooters, walkers with seats, and it's on a temporary basis. And we've seen an increase in people asking for this. So we just want to get the word out, because it's a great resource. It's free. If you do borrow a transport chair or a walker with seat, we ask for a $50 deposit. We don't cash it. We give it back to you. So we say it's for a month. We give people more time, but then all of a sudden we realize we have no transport chairs, so we're calling people to get them back. But so the previous quarter we had 26, and this quarter we had 36. So it's great. People love it, and they love to also donate to us and get rid of their equipment when they're done with it, right?
That's right.
So anyway, so just wanted to remind people of that. It's a great resource, and people are so appreciative, especially over the holidays, if they have elderly family members visiting.
Right.
That and graduation time, we see a little spike.
Interesting.
So anyway, so just want to remind you of that. And of course, call us to get on our emergency list. Knock on wood, we've only had to call once so far this year. We called right before Christmas when there was that wind/rain storm, and luckily it wasn't too bad, but the seniors love it when we call.
Yeah.
Some like to just chit chat with us. We divide it between the 3 of us in our office, 3 or 4 of us.
Great.
So we have about 90 people on that.
Fingers crossed we can continue to not have to make too many phone calls. It's been
Exactly.
a great winter so far. I got no
Wow.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's all I have.
knock on
Yes.
wood, exactly. Thank you, Ally. Questions,
Yes.
Susan?
Not a question, I just, are you familiar with Wheel It Forward?
Yes.
Okay, because that's a friend of mine started that.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Okay, I
Actually,
just wanted to make sure you were,
yeah, so they're a 501(c) in Stamford, and they also do this with medical durable
They
medical
loan
equipment.
stuff out as well, I donated my walker after I had my hip surgery to them.
Yeah, and so we refer people to them, like they have more stuff than we do, like I think they even take hospital beds and stuff like
They
that.
do.
Whereas we don't have any place to store a hospital bed, but we also, if we only have so much space, so if we have a lot of walkers like we do right now and people wanna
Yeah.
donate, we tell people to donate to them.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
they're great.
And it's called Wheel It Forward.
Wheel it forward.
Forward Stanford.
But it's not just for Stanford
It's not
residents.
just for Stanford,
But
but
it's headquartered, the function.
yeah,
is-
he found a spot there where he can store all the
Oh,
stuff
okay.
there, so he's got, walkers, wheelchairs, I
Mhm.
mean, I don't know how much,
He even
Yeah.
has lift chairs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's got a lot of stuff, yeah.
yeah.
Because that stuff's hard to find.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think they just ask for like a donation, you know what I mean?
Oh,
So,
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really a brilliant, wonderful thing this
Yeah.
person
Yeah.
did.
Yeah,
And
this is,
indeed, I had a
Elliot
house, I had to
Flowers.
get rid of this stuff, that
Oh, yeah.
the people had moved and we didn't know what to, we didn't want it in the house when it was being staged,
Right.
so it was very helpful.
It's like exercise equipment.
Somebody should do that.
Somebody does it, it's called eBay. Only they don't loan it out.
No, I was gonna say no loans.
Different category.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Help me out with the name of the director of Wheel It Forward.
Elliot Sloyer.
Right, Elliot Sawyer has been appointed this year, as I was, to SWACA.
Oh,
And
great.
so again, to start to mesh those networks
Yeah.
for the towns and for his business. And it's a terrific organization. And we're helping to get it some funding through the St. John's Episcopal Foundation.
It's a great thing. I've never met Elliot Sloyer, but I'd like to. That's the
I
kind
can
of,
arrange that.
I would love
They're
that.
very close friends.
What a good guy. I
Yeah.
mean, and all that group, that's just a great idea.
Yeah.
Very cool. Other questions for Ally or comments? Hearing none. Thank you, Ally. Old business, Peter, what you got for us
A
today?
few things. I left on everybody's place setting the ARP Caregiver Resource Guide. A dozen of us worked probably a year and a half on putting that together, and it is really comprehensive in how you can contact these organizations. The point is, as you use it, and as you find other organizations, you might want to send a note to AARP, and so that when we do it, because it's online too, so you can expand it more easily online, okay? Legislative update, I'm meeting on Friday morning with a Representative Senator Duff, who's the Senate Majority Leader. Going to be talking to him about AARP's goals, and also I'm going to talk to him about the SWACO legislative listening session that was just completed. And again, I've been trying to catch up with folks like Tracy Mara. She's been evading me, I guess, or she's been too busy. So if you see her on the street somewhere, tell her to give me a call.
Will do.
Because we can help her. We can really help her. Tax aid starts on Monday, January 23rd. Starts 1 to 7. And so we're ready to go. We had our last training session, and we fully expect it to be a very busy season. And again, that's done through the Darien Library. SWACA, I've given this to our recording secretary. So the 5 areas on aging have put together a listening section and publishes, I guess they do this every year, Beth, right?
Yeah.
This is my first one. And so these are their objectives, again, to push in front of the legislature. Increase the medical waiver asset limit to $10,000 and the Medicaid income level limit to 138% above poverty level. Fund a robust and healthy network of Medicaid providers for the Connecticut home care programs. Fund long-term care access for all Connecticut residents, et cetera. And it lists a few more points there. So again, this is an agenda. Again, we have to get this in front of the politicians and make sure that it moves ahead. I have one other thing that I have to tell you, and it's kind of old business, new business. So a couple of months ago, the Darien Library came to me and said they found in the basement boxes of scrapbooks
Mm.
going back to 1927.
Oh, wow.
And that the mice were starting to eat through some of them. And they really needed somebody that would go through them and maybe organize them. And they thought, because I'm almost as old as that 1927, it might be a great project for me. So I've been working on it, and it's been a real fun project. But I bring it up for a very specific reason. I'm going to show you one of the treasures that came out of that. And you should know this, a couple of facts. In 1980, our town's population was about 19,000 people. 2,200 of us were 60 years of age or older, about 12%. Today, 23,000 of us, 4,000 over 60, so we're closer to 18%. So we know the role of seniors in this community. Well, I found this, and Joe, you weren't around for this one, but in newsletter number 5, May 1977, the Darien Advisory Commission on Aging.
Wow.
They published a bulletin. And I only found one of these, so I have no idea, but
Right.
obviously, and I'll give a copy to the
Great.
recording secretary, and she can attach it. But what's really amazing to me is its agenda is very much like our agenda today. So what I'm saying is what started back then, 1977, is still very much in effect today.
Mm.
Assistance for renters, for example, tax aid, free health tests, screening programs, free glaucoma screening, even at that time a dental clinic. And then tying to the Darien Library movies. But this is the one I love. This is where the heart is, and it says volunteering.
Mm.
And I'm just going to read it to you. Volunteering, not for women only. Men are urged to consider volunteering too. Some interesting jobs available for which you can receive training. Program for the blind, book aid program, volunteer action center. So there it is. So again,
That's awesome.
what we have today, we've inherited into something that's ongoing. So
Mm.
it's important stuff.
Be fun to see in 2177 when they're watching our videos, right? It's like, what was that like back then in 2022? 2023, I should say. Hard to believe. That's great. Thank you, Peter. You good?
Yep. that's
Thank you,
done.
sir. Appreciate it. Any questions for Peter? Hearing none. And thank you for doing that scrapbook service. I look forward to, if there's any way of that getting out onto the web or something, it would be pretty cool to get that digitalized.
Yeah, it's going to be hard because it's lots of it in very old form, and almost all of it is newspaper.
Got
Yeah,
it.
you're gonna have to do scanning.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
And that's
Fair enough.
slow.
Who created these scrapbooks?
Library volunteers and library members, and again, not for every year, and for some, a little binder covers 3 years, and for others, a binder this thick covers 1 year.
Mm. Wow.
So I have a huge trash bin, and because we don't really need to know what the library did every week, but some great historical stuff. People that spoke at the library, for example, Norman Cousins, people that became famous as young people. So yeah, it's a fun thing.
That has got to be very cool to go through. Very cool. Awesome. Especially working with the original documents. That's got to be neat. Cool. Great. Other old business? New business? Hearing none. Can I have a motion to adjourn the January meeting of the Commission on Aging? Thank you, Peter. Second? Thank you. Sue? I appreciate that. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you in February.